Hello and welcome to Intuitive Clarifications with Natasha. I am here with you, and thank you, Veronica, for being here. And hello, hello, hello. And I hope that I answered your question earlier. Hello, Paula. How are you today? Oh, I'm so grateful that I'm here with everybody who loves me, and I love you guys, whoever's watching, and I send everybody love. So here we are being live in a moment where we're in transition of Mercury and then Mars going into retrograde and then Uranus coming out of retrograde, and it's like and then we got some other planets that are in retrograde already, and it's just kind of like in that we're in this doorway, and like I said, I'm not an astrologer, so I'm not going to read into it. So if you want more information, just Google it. How does that apply to you? Listen to the astrologers that can help you, because I just kind of brush along it a little bit. But I want you to remember, though, that, as we're going forward, and I know that Mars in retrograde is going to be in Leo for a little while. So that's that roar, that's that getting out there. Let's get passionate about something. Let's find our reasoning. Let's go forward in who we are. And I'm Natasha Venter. I'm an intuitive medium who really likes to help people go forward in their life. And I'm just here. This show is going to be just a collectiveness of how to negotiate where we're at right now and what is kind of happening in our world. And I just wanted to kind of give that to you right now so that if you have any questions, if you have any stories, if you want any little bit here, I want to support you in your life's journey. And I'm a perception. Your truth is your truth. I just want to give you that. So here we are. So going into this, that at the little bit of beginning of Mars in retrograde, it's going to be in Leo, which is the roar. It's that partier. It's that I want to do something. It's that, there's almost a perfectionism that comes with the Leo part of us. So if you're a little bit on the perfectionist side, I live with a double Leo, so I understand the Leo. My mom was a Leo. I have a kid who's a Leo. Leos are very strong in my life, so I understand a lot of the Leo-shipness. So it is about that, this has to be the way that I want it to be done. Sometimes it's the way that Leos are. So be careful about the rigidity that you can be in. There's a little bit, I don't want to call it narcissism, but there's a little bit of, I am the one, I'm the king, that Leo, you think of a pack of lions, the mothers like to be the ones that kind of go forward and take care of the clan, and then the male just sits there and goes roar roar roar, I'm going to protect you. They do a lot more, but there's Leo moon here. Yeah, it's like it's a thing. So remembering that we get triggered into the story of us, and then it moves into Mars in Cancer. Guess what I have Mars in Cancer on in my first house. So it's all about that new beginnings, and sometimes it's on the border of the 12th house. So it's about endings with new beginnings. So I really dance with that Leo, or that Mars in Cancer, and it's like giving Mars, the god of war, who's Mars, right, is the god of war, and it's like giving him a hug. Come on, we can get through this. Come on, let's do it. Let's negotiate it. So if you're finding that you're struggling with the emotion, or that somebody triggers you, or somebody's doing that, remembering this goes through until February. So remembering that this is one of those experiences that you're going to find what is your passion, what is your want, what is you're going to go forward with. But at the same time, though, it's going to be something about the negotiation of how do we get through that without pushing the buttons on other people. And sometimes, like my experience, my understanding, my yeah, February is going to be a long way, Veronica, but look at how fast this month went, or this year went. So it's going to be one of those things. So coming into this, we're in the year of the dragon in the Chinese New Year. So there's that fieriness, there's that, it's me, it's that ruffling of the scales, it's that understanding. And how many people this year have really gotten deep into who they've been, who have they really been. And so thank you, Veronica, that it's that understanding going forward. And And that's why I'm saying though that this Mars in Cancer, plus we're in retrograde right now of Mercury, so communication. And I know for me that my Mars in Cancer sometimes doesn't allow me to get angry, but yet it's that passive aggressiveness. So I've had to be careful of my passive aggressiveness coming forward. And sometimes I'm laying in bed, if there's a conversation going on with a husband, as relationships go sometimes, and this is just an experience that some of us have, some of us don't. If you don't have a relationship with someone close to you like that, then think about relationships like in grocery stores or coworkers or neighbors or whatever it is that, sometimes that there's this thing that gets miscommunicated, and then somebody gets riled up quickly, or they get is you know um what is the next year's, and I'm going to Google that actually right now, because I was thinking that right before you text that, Chinese New Year of 2025. Okay, so give me a second here. Maybe somebody else can look it up so I can keep talking here. But Chinese New Year, Chinese. Chiron's in retrograde too right now too. So Chinese New Year. New Year 25 animal is the snake. So, so the snake is the next year, and a lot of us have troubles with snakes, but going back to what I was saying with, getting triggered with where you're at and what you're doing, remembering, because I don't know exactly when it's going to change into Mars. I think into Cancer. I think it's through the holidays that it's actually going to change into Mars and Cancer. And so, sometimes my Mars in Cancer wants me to sit back and go, well, why is he doing that? Why is this happening? What is this happening? Why? I don't want this. Tears, 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 right? But my part of me that has learned to balance my Mars in Cancer, which is stepping back, giving the God of War a hug, doing that has actually taught me to stand up and say what I need to say. But with Mars in Cancer, sometimes you don't come across as heavy or as blunt or those kinds of things. So, going into this, sometimes we need to speak up, not be so passive aggressive about things when Mars is in Cancer, because we're going to be triggered with our emotions. We're going to be figuring out who we are. There's this thing that's happening right now. And this is my own observation of me and Mars in Cancer, that it's been that balance between, do I speak, how do I speak? There's the retrograde, Mercury in retrograde, right? How do I speak? How can I voice my emotions and be a passionate, kind person? And that's going to be the balance that we have. And so with Mars in Cancer here, it's how do you negotiate that turmoil inside of you? I want to speak it. How do I speak it? And that's probably why Mercury in retrograde is coming in during this Leoship part of Mars. It's because of that dance. And this is what I'm getting intuitively. So going into this, think about how can you move through your story? How can you move through this dance of realities? Because we're going to be doing a lot of changing over. We're going to be going into a new presidency during this time. We've got a lot of different things that are happening. In the Chinese New Year, as the dragon gets its final last roar, its final last dance, its last integrity of fire in us, what can we do to get that fire in us to be passionate? Comes into snake, and the animal of snake, if you think about it, and next year is going to be a 9-year. Right now we're in an 8 universal year. So the 8, what is above, what is below, what is in, what is out, what is our story, what is not our story. So we're in the year of the 8. We're coming to the end of the year of the 8, of the number 8. And so that's that figure 8, as above, as below, the infinity sign, right? And so if we can do that, so next year, 2025, is going to be a universal year of the 9, the endings, but endings are about new beginnings. So how can you come into your new beginning in the year of next year, even though there's going to be a lot of endings? Now, our government's going to represent that. Here in the US, our government's going to represent that. But the snake is about, how do you shed your skin when you grow out of what you're doing? Okay. You're also going to know your instincts. Follow those instincts, follow that gut feeling you have. Use your intuition. We all have intuition, right? We all have that inner gut knowing of who, what, where we are. So if we can really follow that. So the Chinese New Year of the snake, the universal year is 9, right? So that's about endings. We're coming into that fruition of that energy happening now. So if you're noticing that things are starting to come to an ending, there's a lot of conversations around a lot of endings. Things are going to be happening. Are we going to have this? Are we going to have that? Or what are we going to have? And I'm going to use my kid as an example here. So my kid who works at a company, I'm not going to name the company, but works at a company. Oh, you are a wood snake. So this is going to be your year of how are you going to slither into your new knowings? How are you going to use your instincts? What kind of ground do you want to go over? Are you going to be climbing trees to get a bigger vision of what you need, even though snakes don't have great vision, right? But they use their tongue for instinct. So use your other senses. It's not always what you see. It's about what you know, how you feel on your body. What are you going to do? And remember that the year of the snake, it doesn't matter what snake you are. It could be a gardener snake. It could be a python. It could be whatever it is. So what can you do to get yourself going forward? And then the wood is about what can you do so you don't burn, because there's all the elements, so you don't burn yourself out, right? Because the wood, if it catches fire, it can burn out quickly. So remembering it's about how can you negotiate things on a pattern, on a rhythm. Okay, because you don't want to burn yourself out. You don't want the fire element to burn you out. You don't want the air to fill the fire, and you don't want water to come in and wash you out, because wood needs actually water, but it doesn't want to be washed out, and that kind of thing. So you don't want to be a snake that's going up in the trees with the water. So that's a kind of a stance there. So I thought this year was transformative. Guess I should have got a seatbelt, and I would agree. It was a ride, but that's the year of the dragon, right? About the magic, the balance, that dance. And you think about dragon doesn't always have the biggest wings for the body that they have, right? So how can you create this rhythm with where you're at? And that fire, oh my gosh. I have, especially in this last couple months, I've really realized that, I am been always called a stable person. How do you stay so stable through this shift that's happening? How do you stay so, balanced in where you're at? And I've actually found that, because there's a plus side to things and there's a negative side of things. And I'll go back to the story of my kid here in a minute. But, it's like that fine line that I've really learned that me being and falling back into stability, that I've lost my passion. It's not that I'm not passionate about doing this. I love being there for people. That's my calling, is to be, out there for people. But I've kind of come into more neutrality, more than I've had that put my foot out there, right? That knowing out there. I've kind of stepped back instead of stepping forward. And I know I can't step forward 24/7, then, but at the same time though, it's like, you know, there's those times where you can be like passionate about things. And I've really realized that how sometimes when I've been passionate about something, been excited about something, that there's been people in my life, not everybody, but there's been certain times where I've come home and I've said, ah, yeah, 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 da, 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 and I got flat. I got a flat tire. And so I've learned how to just balance myself, get excited, but don't be excitable. It's like, I walk into a movie and I say, well, if it's good, it's good. And if it's not, it's not. It's what it is. And I like what it is. And I liked what I saw. So I try to stay as neutral as I can. But this I'm going to really figure out. Now, this last couple months of the Dragon New Year, I want to find out what my passion is with Mars and Cancer. Finding that double, because I have Mars and Cancer already, so I have a double Mars and Cancer. What can I do to really find my passionate knowings to give me the drive to step forward into over the bridge? And now this is a segue into what I was going to talk about with my kid. Because my kid, who works for this company and is in security, not insecure, but they do security, and it's a company that hires in to contract for this other company. And my kid, who's been really wanting to work for the main company, right? We're just going to call it Bob's. Okay. So Bob, my kid has been wanting to work for Bob's. Okay. That's a segue. That's just a made up name, but has been working for Mojo, who's the contract in Bob's. So now Bob's is going to hire the people who are doing the contracting. This has been something that my kid has wanted for years and years and years. And I woke up the other morning thinking, you know what? This is the metaphor for life right now. That we've actually are going to be getting some of the things that we've been looking for, right? But it's like a bridge. Okay, picture your bridge. So my kid who's on this side of the bridge finally has the information that they can walk somewhere, right? They can finally walk somewhere. But what they have to do is they have to go through the hiring process. So she had to do a resume. She had to get herself prepped. She had to do the work. She had to trust the process. She had to negotiate what was in front of her, decide that she really wanted to go work for that company, Bob's, right? Wanted to work for Bob's. But she had to wait for the information. She had to get prepped first. She had to get the knowing of what's going to happen second. And then she had to wait. So she sent in her emails as soon as she could. She got herself ready. Now she just has to wait for the interviews, the hiring date, all those kinds of things. Okay. And then process through transferring out of the old company, because the old company still has contracts other places. So going into this, that she can't walk across the bridge until the universe says that she can. But as we're going forward in this world of ours, that, sometimes we have to do all that bridge work beforehand to get to the other side. And as we go forward into this, it's amazing when we trust the process and we can inch ourselves across the bridge. I have a friend who's ready to move, right? Not getting the information she wants, when she wants it, how she wants it. Today, as she was getting impatient, she got the information. Now she has a date that she can walk across the bridge. Okay. And I have another friend who basically said, you know what? And I love everyone's perception where they're at right now. If a truck came along and I was in the intersection and I got hit, I wouldn't mind, because she felt done. She just felt done. The universe isn't giving her what she's asking for. She's been walking this path for years and years. But we never know when the universe is going to give us something. Okay? We never know what the breadcrumbs are going to lead us to. So if you can right now, if you have a breadcrumb in front of you, if you have a moment in front of you, and keep believing. And that's the thing, is that I had a mantra that came to me, and it was like, it was a gift. And the mantra was, I always have more than enough money that I need. And then I added on, I am done with the resistance of money flowing towards me or with me. Then there's this one video that I was on YouTube one morning, and this moment came where this gentleman said, and it was a quote from the Bible, then I think it was Isaiah, or was it Moses? One of those. I'm not a Bible person. I being dyslexic, reading the Bible was like, holy crap, how can I even think about it? I might now, actually. But, it was where God came to this individual and said that, I will give you what you want. Do you want money? Do you want kingdoms? Do you want this? Do you want that? And what he said is, I want wisdom. I want wisdom. Well, when you really think about it, when you're thinking of just the individual thing, the individual hair that we have, right? The individual thread of life, the individual thing, sometimes we forget that it's a fuller picture. So you know what I changed that mantra to? Instead of money, I always have more than enough wisdom in my life. I am done with the resistance of the wisdom flowing to me. Doesn't that ring? Doesn't that ring? I'm asking for wisdom and I'm done with the resistance of wisdom coming to me. I'm done with the resistance because resistance is something that, a resistance can be even my dyslexic self, part of me saying, we don't know that. Well, if I'm saying I'm done with the resistance, then my dyslexic side of me has to sit back a little bit. And, since I've been saying that, and I say that 2 or 3, 4 or 5 times a day, because I want wisdom to be with me. I want the wisdom to walk through my life. I want the wisdom to negotiate when there's a disagreement. I want the wisdom when I'm paying my bills. I want the wisdom when I'm walking across the street so I can do it safely. I want the wisdom in my life to negotiate. What can I do when I'm negotiating in the story of who I am? So the wisdom could be, okay, I'm on this side of the bridge, like my kid, right? Going back to that story. If I'm on this side of the bridge and the universe hasn't told me to walk across, how can I ask the wisdom of the universe to support me now? And I know, like Paula, you've been on the crosshairs of things happening for you, right? And I know, Veronica, you've had the crosshairs of things happening for you too. We've all been in the crosshairs of a lot of things coming in. And I know for me right now, I'm feeling pretty stable in what's happening. I've done a lot of work over the years. I've gone through a lot of the dark night of the soul through the years. And the universe has said, basically, you're getting this. And that's the thing is that it's owning into who we are. I had a session the other day and this one thing that came forward is that they said, this is who I know I am. And I wouldn't tell very hardly any other people. This is who I am. And she owned it and she started glowing. She started glowing. Her aura just lit up. She just started. So if you can, through this time of disharmony, discord, disruption, the 8-year going out of as above, as below. If you notice that karma was right there with us today. This year was, if you did this action, you had this interaction happen. If it was not I felt like last year, it was like, if I the universe likes to put me on the 50-yard mark of the football field. And this is the way I work my life is I have images, so the 50-yard mark. And if I held my integrity, understood who I was, walk my walk who I am meant to walk. If I got distracted on my phone, if I got distracted too much on doing this, if I got off on sugar, if I got off on the other side. So if I got off on the 47th, 48th, 49th yard mark, or the 51 or the 52 or the 53-yard mark, the universe would say, get back on that 50-yard mark, right? It meant I could get to the touchdowns, right? It got to the touchdowns. But actually, what I saw was I was at the 50-yard mark and it was straight shot out of the tunnel and to my future. I didn't need to be limited by my touchdowns, right? I could go through the tunnel and go for my future. But if I got off on the 51 or the 53, I missed the tunnel. I missed the tunnel. So that was what this year, as above, as below, was teaching me this year. And now with the year of the snake and the 9-year, I'm hoping that with these endings coming up that I can have the balance of moving forward. And that's what I was talking to Shiva about, because there was a lot of destruction that's coming in. There's a lot of that disruption coming in. And I've been talking with Shiva about how, because Shiva's the god, the Indian god of endings with new beginnings. That discord, the unsettledness, that fiery endings, right? It's almost like the dragon setting fire to the town at the end of this year. It's time for you guys to rebuild, right? So as we come forward, that remember, you can be the snake that was underneath the rocks. the new year coming in, the snake being under the rocks, as the dragon came over to clear things out so that we can start this new year on the better side. So coming into this, how are you planning on going through your life? Are you going to find more centered in yourself? Or are you going to be worried about the world outside of you? That's the question. Things are going to be happening outside of us. Yes, we're going to have things that might cost more money. Yes, we're going to have this. Yes, we're going to have that. If that's the reality, God, please help us. Right? Please help us. The thing is, though, we cannot limit ourselves from the realities that are outside of us. We cannot. And like I got a new vibration plate. I had just been wanting to get one. I waited for a long time. I waited till Black Friday, got one. Liking it. I've used it once or twice now. I just got it yesterday, so I haven't really had a chance to use it. But my husband said, "Why didn't you spend $20 more to get another one that was more?" And that kind of thing. And I was like going, yeah, why didn't I? But the thing is, though, this one kept coming. I kept coming back to this one. I didn't know why. I could take it back if I don't like it. But the thing is, though, how can we negotiate the story? Because it was $99. It wasn't a cheap one, but it was, 25% off. Okay. So how can you negotiate who you are and what you're doing? Right now, I have cash stashed around my house because I've wanted to find that if I needed to get something, I could. And we cannot be limited by the realities around us. This is that part of me that understands that sometimes we do live in a matrix, and our perception is what really can save us. If we're perceptioning ourselves into a negative side, like I had a video that came to me this morning, and it was something about somebody passing away, But then I wanted to watch something else that balanced it out. It's okay to get the information of what's happening, but I did not want to stay in that negative side. I wanted to come back and bring something in that was a different perspective to bring me up into a new understanding of who I am and that new understanding of what's going on. So as you go forward, remembering our outer world is going to be what it's going to be. But how do you negotiate through your outer story? How do you negotiate through that outer world? Does it trigger you? Does it negotiate you? There again is Mars in Cancer, right? Especially as our president comes in, especially as things are happening here in the US here. And the other countries are getting stirred up because they're looking at what we're doing, right? So coming into this, there's going to be the good that's going to come out of it, and there's going to be the not so good. But what does this ending, the 9-year, the ending, want to create in the next 9 years to come? And that's the thing is that, I have the understanding, and this is a truth that I understand, remembering your truth is your truth, that the world has not gone through this kind of change with a human on it. We've gone through the major floods. We've gone through the freezes. We've gone through the explosions like on Atlantis. The people have beamed themselves up, like down in South America where there's some people that stuck around, but most of them beamed up into different lands. In different nations and stuff like that. They were done with this planet. So as our planet has gone through some big upheavals of upgrading, that is part of that story. And our bodies are doing it too. How many of you, I was talking to a coworker today, and all of a sudden her husband, who has no problems with anything, broke out in a rash the other day. Okay. Well, our bodies are all upgrading. I know my body has been pretty agitated with something that I'm eating right now, and I'm really trying to eat, like the meat is coming from good source. It's not coming from the grocery store. I'm washing my food as better as I can. I'm doing these things, and I'm taking myself off of certain things that I've eaten too much of. And that's what my body's probably clearing out. And I probably could, I'm not going to say should, could do another cleanse again, to get my gut righted. So my skin, which is if your gut is in disharmony or dis-ease, then your skin is going to be telling you that. And my skin, like I said, has been, through my whole core here and that's where it's really itchy, is through my kidneys and my liver and spleen area. And gallbladder area. So I know that those are the organs that are working. So I'm doubling up on my vitamins to help them. I should have taken some, it's at dinner tonight, around my vitamins. I'm going to take some charcoal. That's what I'm going to take too. So, it's like, do these things to help the gut digest the world we're moving into. So if your body is being a little bit extra sensitive right now, I want you to know that that's part of this evolution of our bodies rising up, of coming forward in our life. It's part, because as Mother Earth changes, our bodies need to change as our spirituality and our dimensions change. And it's not that, like I was talking to somebody the other day in a session, that it's not I'm worried about what dimension I'm on. I'm not worried about what dimension I'm on, because of the fact that if I'm on the 18th dimension, I don't really care if I'm on the 5th dimension, if I'm in the 3rd dimension, because it's all my perception. It's all my perception of what work I'm doing and what I'm doing. And I'm not saying work like, towing the garden or going to work, getting 9 to 5 type of work or whatever it is. It's not that kind of work that I'm talking about. It's like doing the daily life of our life, that I don't have to do it on the 18th level all the time. I don't have to do it on the 5th dimension all the time. I don't have to do it on the 3rd dimension all the time, because I can move wherever I want to go. It depends on who I am and my perception of the world around me. So as I go forward and these things that are feeling in disharmony to me, I'm asking for divine healing on this. I'm really asking for divine healing on this, because I don't want the negativity to come over my life. I feel blessed in my life right now. Things aren't perfect by any means. I have things that I need to do. There's things I got to do. There's things I want to do. There's things that I'm called to do. At the same time, though, the reality is it's my perception that's going to make a difference in it. I'm asking for wisdom. And I'm done with the resistance of wisdom coming to me. Those knowings, those ideas, those stories, those abilities coming to me. Is that making sense to everybody? So if you're thinking of the negative, remember, what we concentrate on is we're going to be pulled to us. There's nothing more truer to that statement right now. If you're pulling, these old stories through, and I had a conversation with my husband the other day. We were talking about something from the past, and he brought up something about how things used to be, right? For the last 30 years, because I've been married now 32, 33 years with him, that, we've been going through these old stories. And then I was saying, well, this is why, and this is why that I had that moment. And he goes, why do you always bring up the past? And I said, honey, we both do. We both do. And that's part of my Mars and Cancer, right? We both do. And what I want to suggest is right now, stop living in the past. We are good where we're at. Things are happening where we're at right now. And I'm wanting us to be here. Yes, we have things that have happened in the past, and I can understand that. Me being more flat lined because of having things that I've experienced now, right? Those experiences, that instead of denying myself joyful moments of ups and downs, more like a heartbeat, right? It doesn't have, or a nice soft roller coaster, or some, going up and over some that nice roads that you kind of go up and down, and they're kind of fun to go in. Get some more joy in my life. And that's the thing, is I had a dream the other day, and if somebody watched my videos, you would know what I'm talking about. I had a dream that I was in a conference, and this conference was something that there was a lot of people, but it was kind of weird, the sitting, because there was seats to sit, and then there was like blocks of like tables, and there was hardly any seating, and I would find myself sitting on a block, or I felt myself, because I was not, there was no place to really sit, and I would sit next to somebody and kind of do this, and I go, I don't want to be mean about this, but you're lovely to sit next to, but I'm kind of uncomfortable. I'm going to go find another place to sit. So I just didn't want you to think that it was about you. So I was kind to the person who I was moving. Well, then I saw that there was an extra seat by these gentlemen. They were younger, 30s, maybe 40s gentlemen in the conference. And this was before the conference. And I said, "Hey, do you mind if I sit here?" And, they had like one extra seat. And I said, "Do you mind if I sit here?" And they said, "Sure." And then all of a sudden they started talking, they were joking, they were laughing. This is before the conference started. They were just doing it. And as I was watching this, I really got joy. Bring more laughter in, bring more joy in, bring more the ability of the lighter side of life. And then I got this understanding that my passion, me being passionate about stuff, it's that I've been more stable, right? Well, no, get some passion in my life. That means more joyful moments. That means have fun with what I'm doing. Bring music in to the story, right? Bring lovingness into the story. And it's amazing when we do that, the vibration we get into, that is more the fifth dimension. That's more the eighth, the 12th, the whatever dimension that you want to be in, right? So going into this, how do you negotiate who you are and what you are? And that if we can find that more through this transition from an 8-year to a 9-year, and the transition from the year of the dragon to the year of the snake, transition from one government to another government, transition from who we are to who we are. It's not like we change who we are. We don't have to change ourselves 100%. We can change ourselves a little at a time. Find more joy. It's a decision. It's a decision to be made. Oh, instead of sitting here, God, I just got off work, and then your spouse comes in or your friend comes in and says, "Hi, how you doing?" You go, "Tired." Well, I had that little bit. And I told my husband, I'm just transitioning right now. I just come up from work. He's happy. He's got joy. He's been listening to great music, falling more and more in love with me because of those country songs that were, Garth Brooks and all that kind of stuff. And he was finding love from me through the songs. And yet, at the same time, I was not at the same vibration. But what I did was I tried not to stay lower vibration while he was upper vibration, to give him the wrong signal in his knowings. Because I hate snubbing other people's joy, just like I don't like other people to snub my joy. So think about that. And that's a good representation of the God of War, right? Getting a hug. That we're not always going to be right. We're not always going to be proper. And we're not always going to be in the better mode. We're not always going to be in the best emotion. We're not going to always be in that dance. But there's going to be something about our understanding and leveling up. It's going to be huge on our perception. What do we do when people cut us off? What do we do when we get wrong information? What do we do when somebody who is in an office and they're basically flatlined, there's not even looking up at you? Do you take it personally, or you just say, they're having a bad day? So who are you and what are you going to do about it is the thing. So we all have love. We all have knowings. We all know who we are. We all have these retrogrades to think about. What are we What are the re's? Rethink, re-know, re-understand, revalue, re-look into things. Just like me with my relationship with my husband, we had to rethink about how can we label our old days compared to what we are today. How can we kick ourselves out of the old story, even though we're moving forward into our new story? And you know what? I just looked at the time and it's 4:43. So, I think I'm just going to pull oracle cards today. I know that I usually channel a DT, but Mikhail went through on Monday, and I'm kind of feeling like, there might be just time for us, whoever would like an oracle card, to have an oracle card pulled for them. Does that sound good to everybody? Or would you like me to channel today? It's going to be an either or. Because I can channel Mother Mary, I can channel Jesus. They're all here. I can feel them all here. And it's not who you want me to channel. It's more, would you like a card pulled or channeled? Well, I'm getting a sense right now that it will be about cards. Okay. So let's do cards. So I am going to do Who Wants to Speak? I would love that. Okay. Who wants to speak? I think a card. Okay. Thank you, Jessica. Who wants to come out? I'm looking at my different cards here. I rearranged my room, so I have different cards. I mean, I don't have different cards, but I have them more available. I'm not reaching for them. You know what? I haven't used these cards lately. And I think that this is the time for these cards. These are just lovely cards. So, and then I will read. These are the Path of the Soul cards. And it is, who is it? Who has done this? I want to always give people credit for who they are. Oh, so this is Destiny of the Soul by Cheryl Lee Hanarsh, I think is how you say her name. Okay, so hi Kathy, how are you? Thank you for being here. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you. Okay, so who asked for so Veronica, you said first, I think. I'm waking him up right now. Okay, so yes, they are beautiful cards, aren't they? Okay, so I'm looking. So Veronica, I think you were the first one. So let's have you do a card, and then it will be Kathy. Woo! So Veronica, that one fall out. So Veronica, and then Kathy, and then Jessica, and then Paula. I will do in that order. Okay, so this one's for Veronica. Isn't that beautiful card? I hope I did that right. Okay, so it's like almost like a vase with a foot, and the yin yang. One side is light, one side is dark. Okay. Oops. Where did you go? There you are. Okay. So I have not looked up these cards lately. So number 14. So 14 here. Footprints. You have a beautiful intention of doing well in this world, of having a lasting and positive effect on the planet. This was a part of the divine plan you created for yourself before you came here. Those inner aspirations you feel and the daydreams associated with them are the whisperings of your soul's calling you to your purpose. This is all part of your journey. The time has come to take steps necessary to set this dream into motion. So, Veronica, that's for you. Yes, you're on the doorway of a lot of things, aren't you, my dear? So, remembering that the footprints, you have to go through some of this to get to the light. And, that's a lot of this is the mind. Oh, and I wanted to add, if I read a card and it rings true for you, it doesn't matter if it's for Veronica or not, it was meant for you also. So this could be a collection of a reading for one person too. The first card, the second card, the third card. Okay. So remembering that as we walk forward with those negative, this side, we go through for the negative thoughts, that we do get to the light. So Veronica, it's okay to be in the dark light, but we have to remember to go around to the other side. Okay. I'm going to go shut my door real quick. My cat opened the door. Okay, back again. Thank you. Okay, so let's see. That was for Veronica. Okay, next one is for Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Thank you for being here. Woo. That one almost popped out. I guess it was. Oh, there we go. These cards wanted to be coming out, didn't they? They're like talkative. Okay, so this one's yours. Isn't that beautiful? There's something about that outer world, and now you're walking into your new inner world. Okay, so which number is this? This is the 9 cards. So there's something about that 9, endings and new beginnings. Okay, so 9. Okay, here we go. So number 9. Oops, my thing went down. Okay. Who did Rocky let in? Oh, he let himself in because he's right there in the chair. He wanted to go sit in his chair. That's now his chair with the teddy bear. He's right there. So can't move the chair right now. Okay, so this one's okay. So number 9, light within. This is yours, Kathy, and whoever this rings true with. You are awakening to your inner light and opening new levels of spiritual understanding and awareness. Guides and teachers are working with you to assist you in this awakening. Support is coming in the human form as well. Those who are knowledgeable and experienced will be there to offer their support as needed. The main color of green in this card shows that to know our inner light is to know our inner heart. Enjoy the experience, stay connected, and rest will happen naturally. And the rest will happen naturally. Boy, isn't that a story? That is like beautiful. does they got a truck? Yeah. Well, I have one. You may need to borrow, you may need to rent one, but it's all in the process, right? So I guess you're on the midst of this new beginning for yourself, my dear. Wow. We're all in the door of new beginnings, but what are we going to do while we're in the process of waiting for it to happen, right? Okay. So this one's for Jessica. Okay. So Jessica, I love you too, you wonderful lady. Oh my gosh. She just, she's the one that helps me with my newsletters, which is coming out soon. Okay, Jessica. Wow. Making decisions, are you, my girl? Or you wonderful girl. Woo! Okay. Woo! This whole deck wanted to. Wow. Okay. I was telling them not too many cards. I didn't want to I didn't want to have to read too many cards. Okay. So here you go. You have number 12. Ooh, that's 42. Isn't that a beautiful card? And then this one is 38. So those are the two cards that you get, Jessica. So who wants to be read first? 38 wants to be read first. Okay. So 38. Okay, 38. Intuitive art guidance. Intuitive arts guide. There are many forms of intuitive work being done on the planet today. Using your intuitive gifts has a large role in the work you are really here to do. There are many tasks that are undertaken which actually involve the intuitive process. Whether you paint, write, music, design, raise children, witness, or give psychic readings, you are opening from a very intuitive source. Operating from a very intuitive source. This guide is here to help you see that your role is important. The work you do is needed. You are in service, and your intuitive knowing is strong. You are helping others to acknowledge and accept their own intuition. So, you, my dear Jessica, are very intuitive. You know it, but it's been stifled by your life's traumas and the people that you have chosen to be in your life, i.e., your mother, i.e., the one that you just left, right? So, it's time for you to trust that inner calling that you have. Okay, because number 42, let me get it and then I'll show the card again. Fairies. Ooh. Fairies is this card. You are being asked to watch for situations that may get you fired up. Remember, every experience you have is part of your learning. If you do find yourself in an uncomfortable situation, do your best to stay in the moment. Be mindful to do not allow yourself to be slipped back into old patterns. By staying true to who you are now, you will find the situation will resolve easily. The fairies are showing you the magic of staying present and heart-centered. And that is Mars and Cancer right there. So, with that, the fairies. So, understanding that as you're embarking and trusting yourself, the fairies are saying, remember to stay centered as much as you can. Okay. Wow, that was huge. Okay, so now, Paula, it's your turn. Woo! Well, that card bounced out. So, Paula, here's yours. Ooh, isn't that like the snake? Almost looks like a snake, doesn't it? Like two heads coming together. Unity. So, as above, as below. Wow. Okay, so what number is this one? This one's 27. So 2 plus 7 is a 9. Wow, 9 has been a big number lately, isn't it? So we're already in the energies of the 9. I'm going to tell you that. We've been walking that way since September. Now going into it, going further. So as we go forward, what is ending in your life for creating a new beginning? I'm going to go back to my kid again. Which side of the bridge are you standing on? And are you ready to walk across the bridge by your preparation, by your mindset, by your knowings, by your trust, by your acceptance, by your surrender for the process to happen? So 27, this is for Paula. Okay. Doves. Oh, doves. Oop, that way. Doves. They're not snakes. Doves. Doves represent the circling from the old to the new. It is important to remember that you are not alone during these times in your spiritual journey. The doves are here to remind you to allow the peace of and love to nurture your thoughts in this time of change, through this time of change. Okay, let me reread that. I'm sorry. I'm going to start from the beginning. Doves represent the cycling from the old to the new. It is important to remember that you are not alone during these times in your spiritual journey. The doves are here to remind you to allow the peace and love to nurture you through this time of change. You will receive the energy and the strength to do what you need to do to be done. You are fully supported. Know that is okay to ask for support when you need. This cycle will end soon and you will experience the full bounty and the beauty of this wonderful growth. So I think actually if you put all these cards together, it was a great reading for everyone, right? But that represents the puzzles. We're all pieces of the puzzle, the whole puzzle. So basically these cards were saying is that trust the intuition that we have. The fairies and the guides are here to support us through our spiritual awakening. Trust our intuitive gifts and remembering that as we're ending one cycle and coming into another. Oh, doves are birds. Oh, well, I know doves are, but I didn't know doves were. Doves, I guess that's the same. I don't know. Me and dyslexia. I'm done with that story. So going into this, that the bigger picture has been trust the intuition through the change because we have guides and everybody supporting us through the endings to new beginnings. And through these new endings and new beginnings, we're going to find our new story of who we are, even though our old story wants to come along for the ride. It's time to believe in you. And as this month's mantra is, I know, I trust, and I understand that I am enough. And there's other words in there, but put in words that you know. Because as we go forward and do our work, we are enough. We can do it. We will do it. And life is about doing. Okay? And there's one more spelling, sweetie. Okay, let's see. Yes, let me get up here. So the doves, let me get to 27 and I will put it up to the card because I know that you are my dyslexic helper. Okay. There we go. So that helps. Okay. So I'm going to pull one more card just to finish the sentence. I feel like there's a sentence that needs to do. Okay. So it might have been doves. I don't know. I've had a day with a lot of different things of holding love for a lot of situations. Okay. Doves pronounced dove. I love you too. Thank you. Not doves, doves. You know, ain't that a good experience about how Mars is in Cancer? You know, the god of war might have gotten upset. Me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Paula. Thank you. Woo! Okay, so, there's 2 cards here. 3 cards that want to come out for the last part of this show. Okay? Because this is for everybody. This is the finaling of the sentence. Okay, so there's 17, which is 8. Ooh, lights. Sorry. Isn't that pretty? And then here's the other one. This is number 20. Isn't that pretty? And then there's 34, which is a 7. That is so pretty. Okay, so I'm going to read these cards. So 17 first, and then I'll be done here. Thank you for holding on. Those are still watching. Because this is the finaling of the sentence here. Treasures. Treasures. Okay, treasures. What was once hidden from view can now be seen. Lying within you are the many inner treasures and gifts. This is your time of discovery. You have special and unique skills that you have hidden, like pearls in a shell. It is happening now. Stay grounded and clear. The spiral in this card shows the universe's energy are working with you to help uncover what lies within. Understand, however, that once fully uncovered, you will be asked to use these gifts to service to others on this planet. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, now to this is number 20. Companion's love. Companion's love. This card speaks of passion, creation, and union between lovers. Allowing yourself to truly be seen and vulnerable is an important step in learning to trust. There is many levels of love which can be experienced, but this speaks of a deepness most innate of all unions. Through this deep connection, energy, and full flow, love is source energy. Whether you experience this source alone or through meditation or through our connection with another, it is still source. Enjoy it, play in it, and allow yourself to fully embrace all that has to offer. Isn't that pretty? And now the last card, 34, which is a 7. Red native. Wow, red native. From the time of first man, every thought has been recorded within the collective consciousness. You can now either draw from the source, or you can consciously make a positive contribution to it. You have much wisdom within you, and it is time to share it. Red Native is calling you to begin imparting your knowledge with others. This can be from form of talking. However, there is many other ways to communicate. Whatever your choice, you are making a lasting contribution by rising the collective consciousness by man. And isn't that a story? Well, my dears, you are amazing. If you are needing of some support, I am grateful to be here. You can follow this on podcast later. You can rewatch it at any time. You can share this. Please please follow if you haven't followed me on YouTube yet. And remember that no matter where you're at and what you're doing, life is going to be full of story. Life is going to be, and it's going to be what it's going to be. And I'm just praying that I'm asking for divine healing on all of this, because through this change, I'm hoping that grace and ease and love and light, and we can see the future is here to help us. You're more than welcome, Jessica. Thank you. And all those cards actually added up to a tremendous reading that we're coming through the trenches of finding who we are. We're here to follow our intuition, our inner gut feelings, to know that we can be who we want to be. But it's bringing us into the collective to do the work. May love be with you. I'm not too sure about next week if I'm going to be coming on special or not, but I will let people know. Just look for me on the lives, check once in a while on my YouTube. Usually it's going to be the beginning of the week to do that. I am on a show tomorrow. It's not live. I don't know when it'll be pop up, but please look on my community section of my YouTube channel here, and you will find a lot of my lives because I do share them to that. And it's, let's see, it's it's The Way, I think. Where are you at? Yeah, The Way podcast. I will be on The Way podcast. It will be loaded up here soon. I love you, everyone. And please remember to love yourself. I'm Natasha Venter, intuitiveclarifications.com.